Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest news updates. A lot to get into today, including the latest on Jurrien Timber. We have some more great news on Jurrien Timber. We are also favorites to sign a certain striker. We'll also be talking about that, and also a few more transfer news, including players who are potentially going to leave Arsenal. Potentially, one player has been confirmed to be leaving Arsenal at the end of the season, and we are also linked to a defender from Nottingham Forest. Interesting. Let's get into all that. So let me know what you make about all this. Let's get started. Let's start with Jurrien Timber. We are getting close. We are getting close, and it's really going to feel like a new signing. There's a part of me around December and January, I'm still feeling positive about seeing him this season, but there's a part of me that's also thinking, listen, that's a serious injury that is usually 9 months, 10 months. Maybe you're not going to see him next season. Maybe you just have to be patient until next season. But the way he's been training recently, it's positive news. It's really, really positive news. And this is what reports had to say today, according to Kaya. Barring any setbacks, Jurrien Timber will return for Arsenal after the international break. That will be absolutely huge for us. Now, after the international break, we already know the kind of games that are coming up. We have 10 Premier League games coming up. We've won 8 in a row. Listen, it's going to be almost impossible to win 18 in a row. But from the 10 games that are coming up, if you win like 8 of them, it might not even be enough, but the chances are if you win like 8 out of those 10 games and not lose to Man City, there's a huge chance you're going to win that Premier League title. So 10 cup finals in the league, and also hopefully 5 finals in the Champions League. 2 games if you beat Bayern Munich, you're in the semi-final. Another 2 games against very tough opposition in Real Madrid or Man City, and then if somehow you beat all any of them, you get to the final. So you need a squad to do that. You can't just have 1 or 2 players to take it through that. And Jurrien Timber is one of those players that when you have someone like that returning to the team for those crucial games, that is absolutely huge. Over the last couple of days, the videos we've talked about Ben White, we've talked about Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, various news and all that. And one of the things that we talked about is Ben White having to play so many games. Why? Because Timber and Tomiyasu have been injured. And we've had to play someone like a Zinchenko against Liverpool away and those kind of teams. When, for me, I still think Zinchenko is a very good player, but we've been forced to play him against teams like Liverpool away and those kind of guys. And personally, I wouldn't play him in those kind of games where you need to defend. But in games where you're going to dominate position at home, against Everton, against Nottingham Forest, and all those teams, you want Zinchenko in the team because in terms of getting into the midfield and all that, I don't think we have a better player. Although Timber could be close because the way he was playing for us before he got injured, it was only 3-4 games, but he was really, really good. So I'm going to read you part of the article in a bit, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's on football.london, a very, very good article on how the impact that Jurrien Timber had in the team and what happened after he got injured and all that, and what it meant for our team after Jurrien Timber got injured. It's quite unlucky for a player to get injured in the very first game. It's unlucky for him because that's a serious injury. He's still young. Number two, it's a big move for him to come to us and then get injured right away. And then number three, the plans, whatever plans that I had with Zinchenko and Tomiyasu and Timber, the moment we start this, and then Timber gets injured immediately, and then Tomiyasu gets injured after a couple of weeks as well, it's devastating. But before I come to the article, this is what Kai had to say as well. Arsenal have worked hard to keep Jurrien Timber close to the team ever since his anterior cruciate ligament injury. He has been part of the team meetings and is in the dressing room before and after every home game. So that's great. He's been part of the team. He's not been like away. There's some players for different reasons that when they get injured, like, they go on holiday or they go to recover somewhere else and they're not in and around the team. But Jurrien Timber has always been in and around the team. So I'm going to read you part of the article from football.london, and this is what they had to say. When Jurrien Timber arrived at Arsenal, it was expected that he would take some time to bed in. It took just one training session in Washington, D.C. to realize that wasn't going to be the case. Club sources at the time remarked at how quickly the Dutch international had adapted to Mikel Arteta's specific tactical demands. Wow. That was their reaction, was the simple verdict provided by one person inside the Ghana's US preseason training camp. The superlatives from those outside the club would soon follow. He impressed in a cameo against the MLS All-Stars before stealing the show in his full debut against Man United in New Jersey a few days later. On a sweltering afternoon at the MetLife Arena, Timber was the archetypal Arteta fullback. The technique honed at the Ajax Academy enabled him to drift into different areas of the pitch and all. That's a very, very long article, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to cut it and read part of that as well. One sentence in that article says, one particularly crunching tackle on Jadon Sancho was noted with great admiration by staff. So he impressed with one tackle and one run and all that. Remember when he signed Jurrien Timber, he was meant to be we thought he was going to be maybe a full a centre back coming to help Saliba and Gabriel. But he played a track in one of those games. He came on, I think it was against the MLS All-Stars. He came on at a right back, and then the next couple of games he started at left back, and he fit in very, very well, even against Manchester City in the Community Shield. They also go on to say it's a really, really good article. Make sure you guys go and check it out. What made the display against Barcelona more impressive was that it came at left back, a position he had not played in his senior career. This versatility was something Arsenal had identified during their lengthy scouting of Timber. So we had scouted him for a long time. That's why when he got injured, there was a lot of people saying, okay, this transfer window is not yet closed. Let's go and get another player right now because, it's not as easy as that, because I'm sure they were looking at him for quite a long time. They were looking at Jurrien Timber for quite a long time. And for him to get injured is not just as easy as, okay, let's go and get someone else. I don't think anyone else would fit there right away. They also went on to talk about, him replacing Tierney. And just a week later, Timber was trusted once again to play on the left side against Nottingham Forest. And they also say something about Zinchenko being the first one to comfort him when he got injured, and he was the one who had taken his place. So that comes to the team bond. I really love the team bond right now. But Jurrien Timber, this will be like a new signing. Him coming back, and he's been in and around the team. Yes, he's not played that much, but he's been in and around the team. And they were talking about him taking a bit more time to settle in, but they were very surprised that he didn't need any time. The first, second, third game, he looked like he had been here for 2-3 years. So I cannot wait for him to come back, because he really gives us a different option. That defense, when you have, Tomiyasu and Timber, and you've not even talked about all the other great defenders that we have, it's big. It's absolutely huge. Imagine you're playing against Vinicius in the Champions League semi-final. You give him Ben White in the first half, 50, 60 minutes. If he is in a yellow card and Vinicius is starting to get the better of him, you throw in Timber or Tomiyasu. That is absolutely huge. It's a time we didn't have two good defenders, leave alone 6-7 that we have right now. So that is absolutely huge. So Jurrien Timber should be back after an international break without any, if nothing else pops up, which is going to be huge for us. So that's the list on Jurrien Timber. Let's hope he does recover, continues recovery over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully by the time we face, maybe Man City could be on the bench, but hopefully by the time we start playing the Champions League games, he's there. That we really need him for those games, and those Premier League games after that as well. So let us see. Speaking of centre backs, let's get into a bit of transfer news. So let's start with this on Arteta and Edu's plans for the summer transfer window. Arsenal already making plans for the summer transfer window, with both Mikel Arteta and Edu having a clear vision of what is needed. The club will target a top-level forward and a new midfielder. They will also target a new defender and are likely to be in the market for a new goalkeeper. So I said on, I think it was yesterday's video, I do expect Arsenal to sign 4 players maximum. If you sign 5, I'd be very surprised. Now, the 4 players maximum, I'm thinking one is definitely going to be a striker, as I've said. One is going to be a midfielder, considering, whoever is going to leave. I know El Neni could leave. Partey might end up leaving. We're definitely going to get a midfielder. A winger, we have to wait and see. A goalkeeper, you're definitely going to get a goalkeeper if Ramsdale leaves. If or when, I think it's when he leaves, you're going to get a second-choice goalkeeper. We talked about goalkeepers on the previous 2 videos that I did, I think, on Thursday last week and on Monday. We talked about the goalkeepers that we are linked to, including one from Las Palmas, very, very good goalkeeper, and a new defender. Now, for me, I thought it was going to be a striker, midfielder, goalkeeper, and a winger, because personally, I don't feel like we really need a defender, especially if everyone stays fit. We are very set in terms of defenders. But it looks like they're also targeting a defender, and news that has just broken 1 hour ago is this. This is from Sammy Mockbell of the Daily Mail. So Arsenal are among the teams monitoring Nottingham Forest Murillo. Forest will face a battle to retain the centre back as they fear the breaches, the sustainability breaches. So we are looking at Murillo. I've watched him a couple of games, including the one they played against Arsenal. There's a day he played, I don't remember against which team. He almost scored like from the middle of the pitch or something. So he's a very like gifted defender, and he would be cheap because they're kind of forced to sell him. He would be a cheap option. So in terms of a backup, I'd take him as a backup option. I've watched him a couple of times and he's been playing in the Premier League this season, so it would be a great option as a backup. Yes, I'm not sure he would want to come to a place where he's a backup because he's still young as well. And would you want to come and be behind Gabriel and Saliba and Kiv and all these other guys? I'm not quite sure, but it would be a great signing. I think it would be a cheaper signing, which would be great for us. If you want a backup centre back, listen, I don't mind it, depending on which players are going to leave Arsenal. And I think you need like a total of 7, 8 defenders. If you want two players in every position, that means 8 defenders. At the moment, next zone you'd have 7 if everyone stayed. We're going to talk about the one that was going to leave. For me, I'd take him. I don't think there's any harm with signing a defender like this. We've also been linked to a defender from Ajax as well. So let's wait and see who we are going to get. In terms of a centre back, I think I'd wait for the later part of the transfer window. First, I'll be trying to get a winger or a striker or a midfielder and the goalkeeper, obviously, and then try and get Murillo later on. But it depends. Maybe he would be the first signing. I don't know. But that is the news that was broken a couple of hours ago from Sammy Mockbell. We are linked to Murillo, so let's see if we are going to get him. Now, speaking of defenders, before we go to the strikers, we have one defender that is definitely going to leave, according to Fabrizio Romano. Cedric Soares will leave Arsenal as a free agent in the summer. Decision made. Portuguese right back remains fully committed to the club until June as top professional. Then he will leave Arsenal. Many clubs in Europe considering Cedric as top option for the summer on a free transfer. So Cedric is definitely going to leave in the summer transfer window. No surprises there. We definitely knew he was going to leave. He's actually stayed. He's actually stayed more than I thought he was going to stay, because he's been here since 2020. The time like right before COVID, he was here. He was signed with Pablo Mari. They're the first. They're the first, yeah. They were the first players to be signed by Mikel Arteta, both of them, Cedric and Pablo Mari. And I think Cedric was on a loan at that time before he made it permanent at the end of the season. So for him now, no bad blood at all with Cedric. I still don't think like he was a terrible defender completely. No, I think he did good for us when he played, and he's always been a professional, as I've said. I've had all the other Arsenal players talking about him, and they said how professional he is, how much he helps all the younger players, especially the ones who speak in Portuguese, the Gabriels and the Fabio Veras of this world, all of them. He's a really important figure in the team. And if I'm not wrong, I think it was Mertesacker, maybe a year ago, I had Mertesacker talking, and they were asked, which Arsenal player do you feel is going to be the next manager, or not the next manager for Arsenal, but which player from the current Arsenal team? That time, yeah, Xhaka, Cedric, all those guys. Which one do you feel like is definitely going to make it as a manager? And Mertesacker said Cedric. Like, he was there, he was taking those coaching badges and taking instructions from and ideas from the likes of Mertesacker and Wilshere that time. I think our under 21s, under 18s coaches, and he does look like he would be a very, very good manager. He's composed and he has the experience and all that. But yes, for him, he's been a very, very top professional in our club, and absolutely no problem with him. Absolutely love what he is doing. He's done for the team, and all the best to him. He's definitely going to move on. So we had a total of 8 defenders. That brings us down to 7. That is Timber, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Gabriel, White, Kivio, and who am I missing? Let's start from the right back. Ben White, Tomiyasu, then left back Zinchenko and Timber, and then centre back Gabriel, Saliba, and also Kivio. So we have 7 defenders that we still have, and maybe Murillo if we get him. There was an article on Murillo that I didn't read, but let me read a couple of points that they had to say on Murillo. The City Ground Club, who were hit with a 4-point deduction on Monday following breaches of the Premier League profit and sustainability rules, face having to sell players at the end of the season to ease financial concerns with their emerging Brazilian defender among the players who look set to exit. Murillo, who's only 21, by the way, is only 21, has earned rave reviews since his arrival from Corinthians last summer, and is attracting interest from Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Newcastle. PSG and Barcelona are also suitors for him. So he's going to be linked to a lot of teams. But as I said, um, if Arsenal want a player these days, I feel like we can get him. Unless we are, even if you're competing with Man City and Real Madrid, I feel confident of getting these players these days, which is quite good. They also go and say players like Gibbs White and Awoniyi are going to could be sold as well. But hopefully we get a player from that one. Listen, no one wants any team to get breaches because of fans and all that. No fan deserves that. But when that happens, you have to try and take advantage of that. If there's players who are living in it, try and get them. So that's the latest in terms of our defenders. Let's talk about the striker situation as well. And this is the news that came out today from Corriere Maia, if I'm saying it correctly, via Sport Witness. Arsenal are reportedly leading the way to sign Sporting striker Victor Gyokeres and are willing to pay his 100 million euro release clause. So it's a lot of money, maybe around 80 million pounds or something. That's quite a lot of money. And as we've always said, it depends on which kind of striker Arteta is looking for. And I feel like this kind of striker is the kind of striker Arteta would want. The Tony one, in terms of link-up play and holding up the ball, yes. Osimhen, yes, we've been linked to him, and yesterday's video talking about Arsenal being favorites. But in terms, if you were to ask Arteta which striker he would want, whichever striker to get, I don't think it's Osimhen would be fast. I think he still loves strikers like Jesus, who are going to combine with other players and sometimes move to the left side, combine, get both assists and goals and assists. There's some strikers who are going to get 30 goals and 2 assists in a season. There's others who are going to, mix it up, and Gyokeres is one of them. This season he has 50 goal contributions, which is crazy. I think 36 goals and 14 assists, and I think that is the kind of striker Arteta would like, a striker who's going to combine with other players and sometimes move to the right side and assist Saka, sometimes move to the left side and cover for Martinelli and across the ball and assist. A player who can do all round, and I think Gyokeres can do it. 100 million euros, would we be able to pay that? I don't know. Is he worth it? I mean, we've only seen one good season so far at Sporting. But listen, if you get a striker like this, that is a mark. That is a message to all the other teams. If you have enough budget for that, that would be absolutely crazy. Depends on which other players we're going to sell. Again, make sure to check the other videos out. We talked about Nketiah, the teams that want Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and players we could potentially end up selling to fund our transfer target. So Gyokeres is the next one. As they say, we are currently we're willing to pay the 100 million. So, and we are leading the way. Let's see what happens with Gyokeres. That would be a big signing, though. He used to play at Coventry, so he's played in England before, and his Coventry is not that bad. They reached the playoff final last season, and this season they've in the semi-final of the FA Cup, so that's not a bad institution at all. So Gyokeres has that experience of the championship, and I usually feel like if you've played in the championship, you can handle the physicality in the league. Maybe not the quality and all that, but in terms of physicality, they play a lot of games in the championship. So let's see what happens with Gyokeres as well. But it's going to be a very exciting summer. I feel like we're going to see 4 or 5 players leaving and at least 4 players coming in. And the way we did it last summer, we signed 3 players before we went to USA, and that was like in the middle of July. We had already signed all those 3 players, and then later on we brought in David Raya. So I don't know how we're going to approach this transfer window. There is Euros, so I don't think you're going to sign those players that quickly. So we're going to be talking about all those players in June, maybe sign one in June, and then in July and at the beginning of August is when we're going to see a lot of business after the Euros. So very exciting times. Let's hope this season we can win something and you can attract all these other players that you're linked to. Very, very exciting times. Let me know what you make about all that. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.